Gottlieb, former FDA Commissioner and a CNBC contributor. He also serves on the board of Illumina and Pfizer. And Doctor, we can comment on what we were just speaking about. I want to talk obviously about Astrazeneca because I think we're moving in the right direction here. What is it, 37 cases out of 13 million? And nobody likes those 37 cases, but I tried to do the math on how many people, if 13 million were not going to get COVID, how many lives do you save versus the 37 that died from the blood clots? How many would be expected to die from COVID out of 13 million? You could make a case it could be a pretty large number compared to 37, right?
Yeah, well, backing up to your earlier discussion, I think you guys might be back in the studio sooner than you think this summer, so we'll see. AstraZeneca's been...
Yeah.
Well, because of the vaccines and because of a declining case count, although, again, New York City, if there was two parts of the country right now that look a little bit concerning, it would be New York City and the upper Midwest. Look, AstraZeneca's been very particular how they've wanted their data presented, and their CEO has been as well. So I'm going to reserve commenting specifically on their data and just say that I think that the Europeans probably needed a better approach to how they judge overall clinical data and the side effects that they're accruing right now, both with respect to the AstraZeneca vaccine, but also all the vaccines. To see countries by countries make individual decisions like that and not see the EMA step in earlier, the regulatory authority, I think they need a better process in place for how they're going to adjudicate these things.
But over here, you have gotten much more optimistic just in the last 10 days, 2 weeks, Doctor, about here?
Well, look, I think it's the same trajectory. I think you're seeing declining cases around the country, even in the face of B117. I mean, the concern was that as B117 became the prevalent strain, and it's now becoming the prevalent strain, we'd see sort of a fourth wave. People were saying that. I think you're seeing B117 become epidemic in Florida and California, but you're still seeing cases decline. So what it's suggesting is that the combination of prior infection, the fact that we're vaccinating aggressively, the fact that we're entering into warming months in some parts of the country right now is enough to overwhelm B117, at least for the time being. We might see a backup. We might see a plateauing before we continue to see declines. But I think we're going to see declines around the country. Now, the two parts of the country that are a little concerning now are New York and the upper Midwest. New York, I've talked about the mutation there, the variant that's circulating there. We don't really understand it, 1526. And in California, the variant there was just upgraded to a variant of concern by CDC. So there are some variants in the U.S. that are a cause for concern. I'm particularly worried about the 1526 because we don't understand it. We don't have a good gauge of what the prevalence is. And at least half of those infections have that same mutation that's in the South African variant, that 44K mutation. We don't really know whether or not that's making it more pathogenic or infectious, but it's in there. And that's a cause for concern because we know that that mutation could potentially pierce prior immunity and perhaps make some of the vaccines less effective. So it needs to be looked at. I don't think that's the reason why New York is sort of plateauing or we're not seeing the declines there that we're seeing in other parts of the country, but it could be one reason, and we need to understand that better.
We will be able to manufacture next generation vaccines in years to come to deal with either outbreaks, reoccurrences, or some new variants, do you feel? And will we be able to make enough supply to forever keep this at a low level? Or because it won't be new to us then, and we've done it before, and we probably have the technology to upgrade the software, if you will, of the vaccine. But will we ever get caught totally flat-footed and have to start from scratch in terms of production of vaccine, or do you think we can handle it every year?
Well, with respect to the coronavirus, I think that the mRNA platform turned out to be an optimal platform, and updating the vaccines using that platform is pretty much plug and play. It's not like manufacturing a new flu vaccine where you have to get the flu strain to grow in cell cultures, and sometimes you can run into problems with that. You should be able to tweak the mRNA sequence, tweak the protein, and effectively fit it into the existing manufacturing platforms, both at Pfizer and Moderna. And both companies have built out substantial manufacturing platforms at this point that they continue to invest in. You know, there's no guarantee that the next pandemic that might be with some novel strain of bird flu or something unexpected is going to be amenable to an mRNA vaccine. We may need a different platform to deal with a different kind of virus. This mRNA platform turned out to be very suitable to a coronavirus. It could be that there's reasons why it's so well adapted to a coronavirus and it's not going to be as well adapted to a strain of bird flu. We just don't know. So that's why I think it behooves us to invest in complementary platforms, protein-based vaccines, the viral vector vaccines that you see J&J working on, and the old-style inactivated virus vaccines. I think if we're taking a strategic approach and trying to place a lot of chips to guard against the next pandemic, we want to have capabilities to scale any one of those platforms.
I wonder whether it'd be nice to have a Tamiflu, but I wonder whether the mechanism that we're targeting there in terms of viral replication, would you see mutations around that? Would new strains, if we do develop a Tamiflu-like, I mean, that would be fantastic, would it not? Where you can basically, cut the lethality of the virus off right at the knees, right at the beginning. If you catch it early enough, would mutations get around that as well in future strains?
Potentially. We see mutations to Tamiflu, but it's less likely if you can target a conserved part of viral replication. And there's a lot of drugs targeting core aspects of how this virus replicates, RNA polymerase. I think we'll get one. I think we'll get a small molecule inhibitor of viral replication. With those drugs, there's always concerns about off-target effects. You're trying to target the virus and not have any off-target effects in the human body. So that's usually what holds up that kind of drug development, but I think we'll be able to do this. There's 3 drugs in late-stage development right now. Any one of them could work, and they'll all turn over data cards before the fall. So it's possible that we will have a small molecule inhibitor of viral replication for the fall, which no one's baking into any assumptions, which would be a real game changer. I'm
just wondering, Times Square, New Year's Eve, will that happen again with concerts? Will that? I was watching something the other night, and it was a crowded airport, and no one had a mask on, and I was even nervous. It was on the TV, and I was nervous for the people that were there, surrounded, in...
Well, I'm not longing to be in Times Square New Year's Eve, but I do think we'll be on the beach on July 4th, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, I know. I just wonder whether we ever really do get back to where you're packed into a place and not thinking about the person being next to you having germs, because we're all in that mode right now.
Were you ever packed into a place not thinking about the person next to you?
I was. I got 3 dogs.
Okay.
I don't think about germs, believe me, very much, but I do. But unfortunately, we do now. Anyway, Scott, thank you, and I hope you're right.
Thanks a lot.
All right, see you later, Becky.